that make for interesting experiments in X-Plane. Okay, so here we are inside the cockpit, but...
November 02 X-ray.
Oh dear.
Runway 18 right. Taxi via Alpha 3 Alpha.
I might want to mute that.
Runway 18 right. Taxi via Alpha 3 Alpha. November 02 X-ray. Papa.
But yeah, this wouldn't make for the best sort of sightseeing experience. So actually, we're going to take it from outside, and I've got the data up here so that I can fly from outside. This is not. It is obviously not conventional flight simming, but we are sightseeing more than anything else. Note the space bar to separate. That'll stay there, and that means you can do glide tests and approach and landing tests with this. Anyway, let's rev up the engines. And release the brakes. Maybe some flaps. I don't know why the orbiter has its brakes open, but I've flown this before and it hasn't really had much effect on the whole situation. If somebody has any information on whether that was ever actually done while it was riding on top of the 747, that'd be nice. So yeah, it takes off very easily when it's not fully loaded with fuel. Obviously the 747 is much lighter. I'm gonna mainly use pitch trim, elevator trim to control this. Now you might see some trees on some lakes and go, that's wrong, but no, it's a swamp. That's how swamps work. We will have to turn off the auto-gen scenery, the trees and the houses and all, as we get to Cape Canaveral, because it has a nasty habit of putting houses on the launch pad. Basically, it sees the road leading up to the launch pad as a road that it should put houses on, and that's not right. So let's do that now. So on the fly, we can just go here, graphics, number of world objects, minimal. And so I'll have to reload that, but that'll get rid of the trees, but at least save us from having weird objects on the launch pad. And thus, the trees are gone. Well, you can see from here the various ways you can get across to Cape Canaveral. You can see there's a causeway there. We're taking this highway here. And we can see a causeway there, and another one there. And then we'll be flying over the visitor center, and then beyond that is where the launch pads are. So this is the island with the administrative stuff, and then over there, that's where the launch pads are. Now, I went to Cape Canaveral a few days in a row. I've only made one visit, but we went 3 days in a row, and the third day was an Atlas V launch for OA7, and boy was it packed. I mean, the causeway was packed. There was a lot of traffic along this road to the visitors complex. So yeah, and that was for OA7. I can't even imagine how it would be for, like a Falcon 9 launch and landing, much less like something like the Space Shuttle or SLS or something like that. So plan ahead. So this right here is the visitor complex. Doesn't look like much from up here. Let's slow down a bit. That's the shuttle landing facility. You know, the big parking lot at the visitor complex. It is actually quite, it feels bigger than it looks right here. It's very pleasant. And they have buses going from here to take tours of the rest of the stuff. We're going much faster than we ought to. These are administrative buildings here. So there's like NASA administration. And then we proceed over and take a look around. So if we take a look at the map, this is where we are. We'll head along this coast first, and then work our way up. If you hear clicking, that's me working on the elevator trim. I've got on the hat switch. I've got elevator trim and the aileron trim on the hat switch to my joystick. Okay, so Port Canaveral is up ahead. And that'll help me to orient myself. Okay, so down south here we have launch complexes 5 and 6, which is where Mercury Redstone was launched from. And also launch complex 17, where Delta was launched from. You'll hear that a lot on the mission profile series. This is launch. This here is Launch Complex 17. This is the Cape Canaveral Air Force Station. And then over here are the various launch complexes: 36, 12, 13, 14, 19, 34, and 37. And these along this coast here were where Atlas Centaur, Atlas Agena, Mercury Atlas, Gemini Titan, Apollo Saturn 1B, and another Apollo Saturn 1B. Apollo Saturn 1Bs were from Launch Complex 34 and 37. So this is Launch Complex 37 here. And then you'll see a very, very distinctive road right here. And then 2 launch complexes attached to that road. These are launch complexes 40 and 41. And originally for Titan 3, I believe. And now for Falcon and Atlas launches. I think it was 37 that Blue Origin was going to use, if I recall correctly. I don't remember. I might be wrong about that. So, anyway, Launch Complex 40 and 41. And then finally, last but not least, 39A and 39B, where the Saturn V launched from and where the Space Shuttle launched from. And that's where the VAB is. So this is the crawlerway. And you can see the crawlerway tracks all the way up to the launch pads. Of course, now SpaceX using 39A and 39B is being fitted for SLS, which will actually use the mobile launch platform. Sorry about the camera work. So yeah, VAB's there, but unfortunately I don't have a 3D model of it. And that leaves us with the shuttle landing strip. Right here. So, I'll try and take it in for a landing. So again, if we look backwards here, we see 39B, 39A, 41, 40, 37, 34, and then 19, 14, 13, 12, and 36 along there. I think there's probably some I'm missing there. but that's where Atlases and Titans were launched. And then this is where Saturn 1B was launched, and this is Saturn 5. And then you have the runway for the Air Force Station, and then back there is where you have the Delta rockets and the Mercury Redstone rockets. As far as I know, that's how it works. We are going very high. You know how they say don't try this at home? Do try this at home. Don't try it in real life. Doing S-turns with the 747 ahead of the landing strip in order to dump excess velocity. This is highly irregular. No, I'm not going to separate the shuttle and try and land that just yet. I'll do some practicing with that, and that'll be a video all on its own. That certainly deserves its own video. Lots of stuff in X-Plane deserves its own video, frankly.
100, 50, 40, 30, 20, 10.
Okay. Engine off, brakes on. Okay, okay, baby. Don't bust any tires. We can bust tires, by the way. Woo. It says blown tire on the upper right-hand corner when you do. I don't know how realistic the tire physics is, but that's a separate issue for a different day. Okay, brakes off, and we got to taxi. So, there we are. Our little tour of Cape Canaveral. Not the most thorough tour you could have, of course, but it's a start, just to give you an idea of the layout of the place. And with that, I'll say thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did enjoy this video, please do press like. If you have any comments or suggestions, please leave them in the comment section below. And I'll see you next time.